Okay, good morning, good morning. I hope you had a great weekend, and that your Sunday started off quite all right. Now, without further ado, it's been longer than it should have been. The next Books with Bib episode will definitely be coming out a lot sooner, a lot closer in cadence. That's what I want to work towards. But now, without further ado, we have Books with Bib, Season 1, Episode 4. The richest man in Babylon. So let's find out about this new character we're about to discover, who is supposedly going to cure all our illnesses. We're not really ill, but our pockets are. Our pockets are sickly and weak, and we would like them to be healthy and strong. So, God bless. In old Babylon, there once lived a certain very rich man named Arcad. Far and wide, he was famed for his great wealth. Also was befamed for his liberality. He was generous in his charities. He was generous with his family. He was liberal in his own expenses, but nevertheless, each year his wealth increased more rapidly than he spent it. And there were certain friends of younger days who came to him and said, Arcad, you Arcad are more fortunate than we. You have become the richest man in Babylon while we struggle for existence. You can wear the finest garments and you can enjoy the rarest foods, while we must be content if we can clothe our families in raiment that is presentable and feed them best we can. So a couple people just walked up to Arcad and they're like, look, man, you're doing good for yourself. And honestly, I think that was the first step in them being able to change. They realized, hey, this is somebody that we grew up with, that we spent time with. We don't believe he's better than us, but he's performing better than us. So what's going on? Because this man seems to have cash flow, but he still seems to be able to spend. You know what I'm saying? And get even richer. Dress his family in nice garments, expensive clothes. So they just want to know how he did it. So tune in. And we'll get down to the bottom of this. Yet, once we were equal, and in neither the studies nor the games did you outshine us. So, respectfully, they're saying like, hey man, you're not better than me. What's going on here? But they're keeping it respectful. And that is something that I feel lacks in today's day and age. People will like give you backhanded compliments. No, man. If somebody got it, let them know they got it. You know what I'm saying? And then, you know what I'm saying? If they should, normally they should show love, because it's not common to show love too much. You know what I'm saying? Especially these comment sections in today's, you know what I'm saying? But anyways, I digress. Back on topic. And in the years since, you have been no more an honorable citizen than me. Nor have you worked harder or more faithfully. So I want you guys to read in between the lines here. Basically what they're saying is that Arcad is not better than them, okay? And this applies in the real world too, okay? Nobody's better than you, all right? They either have information that was given to them that gave them comparative advantage over you, or it's just a matter of either they have information you don't have, or they have better systems and technology than you. But doesn't mean you as a base human are less than them. No, never think that. Why then should a fickle fate single you out to enjoy all the things of life and ignore us who are equally deserving? Thereupon Arcad remonstrated with them, saying, if you have not acquired more than a bare existence in the years since we were youths, it is because you either have failed to learn the laws that govern the building of wealth, or else you do not observe them. You know what I'm saying? This is the act of self-reflection, the act of seeing things and learning. You know, there's a saying in life. They say A fool learns from experience. A wise person learns from other people's experience. And if you haven't heard that one, have you heard sometimes some need to touch the stove to know it's hot, while others see that person who just burnt themselves and realize, okay, the stove's hot. Be that second person, okay? Be that second person. If you can, okay? You know what I'm saying? Sometimes in life it's trial and error. Life is trial and error, quite frankly. All right. Now let's find out who fickle fate is. Also, I just want you to keep in mind, the story is in Babylon, so just think of it like Percy Jackson whenever they like mention different gods or deities and stuff like that. Okay. Fickle fate is a vicious goddess who brings no permanent good to anyone. On the contrary, she brings ruin to almost every man upon whom she showers unearned gold. I know we've all heard about those lottery winners that end up just broke, like, you know, not even 5 years after they won the lotto. This is the type of people that are being referred to right now, because there's this old saying, and it's the same hand that you take with is the same hand that will take from you in turn. So basically, if you don't have the systems in place to acquire money correctly, then if you are just hit with a large sum of wealth, chances are you're either going to become a hermit and be very evil, mean, not be extremely frugal with your money because you yourself, you don't personally believe that you could make it again. Or two, because of the lack of discipline, the lack of systems around you to take care of this money, you're going to spend it. Okay? Because money's an amplifier. Okay? So if there's no plan, if you're just wake and bake and shake, you know what I'm saying? All that mess that comes with the wake and bake and shake, you know what I'm saying? You're going to feel it. Let's get back to the story now. But just it's going to tie in really soon. So just connect what I said with this next paragraph. She makes wanton spenders who soon dissipate all they receive and are left beset by overwhelming appetites and desires. They have not the ability to gratify. Yet others whom she favors become misers and hoard their wealth, fearing to spend what they have, knowing they do not possess the ability to replace it. Remember what I just said. They further are beset by fear of robbers and doom themselves to lives of emptiness and secret misery. Others there probably are who can take unearned gold and add to it and continue to be happy and contented citizens. But so few are they, I know of them but by hearsay. So just keep in mind, this is Arcad, the richest man in the city, talking about that. So, you know, us humans, we tend to look at a situation and say, that could never be me. But you have the richest man in the world, not in the world, forgive me, in Babylon. You have Arcad here telling you that the people who get money by luck and are able to add to it and grow on it, it's so rare that he only hears of it from hearsay, meaning his ears, okay? So that's somebody else telling him about another person that he doesn't even know exists. That's the same thing as being 1 in 1,000 or 1 in 1 million, okay? We want to play with favorable odds. Even if it might take a little longer, I guarantee you it's worth it. So don't think you're going to be that one exception, okay? It's better to build a solid plan and foundation that you know works. And we're going to find out in this book what works. Think of the men who have inherited sudden wealth and see if these things are not true. His friends admitted that of the men they knew who had inherited wealth, these words were true, but they besought him to explain to them how he had become possessed of so much prosperity. So he continued, "In my youth, I looked about me and saw all the good things there were to bring happiness and contentment. And I realized that wealth increased the potency of all these. Wealth is a power. With wealth, many things are possible. One may ornament the home with the richest of furnishings. So, you know what I'm saying? You can get that $1,000 love couch, you know what I'm saying? Not even bat an eye. One may sail the distant seas. Have you ever been to Japan? I haven't. I'd love to go. One may feast on the delicacies of far lands. You know what I'm saying? Have you had that frutti di mare? You know what I'm saying? Fresh out of the sea from, you know what I'm saying, on the coast of Italy. I think you deserve it. So tap in, follow along. Let's find out how we can get you there. One may buy the ornaments of the gold worker and the stone polisher. One may even build mighty temples for the gods. One may, so you know what I'm saying? If you're religious, you can build that synagogue. You can build that church. You can build that mosque. It's all possible, okay? One may do all these things and many others in which there's delight for the senses and gratification for the soul. So we're doing this for our own pleasure, okay? That's what matters. That for what makes us feel good. That's what, you know what I'm saying? Ideally, that's what wealth should be used for. You know what I'm saying? You should feel good to give because you have enough to give. And when I realized all this, I decided to myself that I would claim my share of the good things of life. I would not be one of those who stand afar off, enviously watching others. I would not be content to clothe myself in the cheapest raiment that looked respectable. I would not be satisfied with the lot of a poor man. On the contrary, I would make myself a guest at this banquet of good things. Amen. It starts with you. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's going to tell you what you deserve except for you. And if you don't tell yourself what you deserve, then someone's going to tell it for you. That's how it works. Being, as you know, the son of a humble merchant, one of a large family with no hope of an inheritance, and not being endowed, as you have so frankly said, with superior powers or wisdom, I decided that if I was to achieve what I desired, time and study would be required. Ooh, bars from Arcad. You know what I'm saying? He's spitting. Are you listening? Are you picking up what he's putting down, friend? Shit. He literally just told you he's not special. This wealthy man is not special, but he paid attention when others didn't. As for time, all men have it in abundance. Each of you, have to let slip by sufficient time to have made yourselves wealthy. Yet you admit you have nothing to show except your good families, of which you can be justly proud. As for study, did not our wise teacher teach us that learning was of two kinds? The one kind being the things we learned and knew, and the other being the training that taught us how to find out what we did not know. Therefore, did I decide to find out how one might accumulate wealth, and when I had found out, to make this my task and do it well, for it is not wise that we should enjoy while we dwell in the brightness of the sun. For is it not wise that we should enjoy while we dwell in the brightness of the sunshine? For sorrows enough shall descend upon us when we depart for the darkness of the spirit of the world of spirit. So, you know, he's saying you deserve to have a good life. You know what I'm saying? While you're alive. So, you know what I'm saying? Arcad's really about to drop some knowledge on us. And I hope you share this with a friend, a loved one, or anyone you just want to see perform better in this world, you know, because it's not easy, especially if you lack awareness. Then it's really not easy. I found employment as a scribe in the Hall of Records, and long hours each day I labored upon the clay tablets. Week after week, and month after month, I labored, yet for my earnings, I had not to show. So he started off small, all right? He was over here in the Book of Records, you know what I'm saying? Basically, he was that person that would help create documentation. So, you know, he was over. All right, where was I? I ran out of storage. I need to buy a second terabyte. Can you believe I already ran out of 1 terabyte of space? I've had this computer since like March. Where was I? Oh yeah, so he was a scribe. He wasn't getting paid a lot, you know what I'm saying? Equivalent to maybe he was making like $3 an hour, you know what I'm saying? But he was in the right space to learn, and you'll find out in a second. All right, I labored, yet my earnings I had not to show, food and clothing and penance to the gods, and other things of which I could remember not what. Absorbed all my earnings, but my determination did not leave me. Kind of similar to us, to the youth in today's day and age. We make okay money, but we spend it on things that we're not even going to remember later. You know what I'm saying? But it's okay. It's a part of youth. You know what I'm saying? What's important is that you're putting yourself in these spaces to where you can experience this, because you have to know what you like and what you don't like. You don't have to know everything. Actually, I'll put it like this. If you know in this life, if you know what you want, oh my goodness, you're already further than like half the population, quite frankly, because nobody knows what they want. And one day, Algamish, the moneylender, came to the house of the city master and ordered a copy of the 9th law. He said to me, I must have this in 2 days, and if the task is done by that time, 2 coppers will I give to thee. So I labored hard, but the law was long, and when Algamish returned and the task was unfinished, he was angry, and had I been his slave, he would have beaten me. But knowing the city master would not permit him to injure me, I was unafraid. So I said to him, Algamish, you are a very rich man. Tell me how I may also become rich, and all night I will carve upon the clay, and when the sun rises, it shall be completed. He smiled and replied, you are a forward knave, but we will call it a bargain. Because that takes balls. You know what I'm saying? Most people just give and go. You know what I'm saying? You came here for a service. I'll give you what you need. Get out of here. You know what I'm saying? No. You don't know who can do what for you. What Arcad did right here, they don't talk about it too much, but I low-key think that if you just act like this, you can get successful. Because even I do it when I work valet, or even at like networking parties, and the older people always stop and smile at me, and they're like, I can't tell you the last time a younger person asked me for advice that I wasn't related to. It just doesn't happen anymore in today's, everybody's on their phones. So again, that's an advantage. All right. All that night I carved, though my back pained and the smell of the wick made my head ache, until my eyes could hardly see. But when he returned at sunup, the tablets were completed. Now I said, tell me what you promised. You have fulfilled your part of our bargain, my son, he said to me kindly, and I am ready to fulfill mine. I will tell you these things you wish to know, because I'm becoming an old man, and an old tongue loves to wag. That's exactly the point I was making earlier. Like, if you're a young dude, get you a valet job, because you at a nice restaurant or a nice hotel, all right? When that nice car comes in, you give that person the best customer service you can, and you stop and you say, or when they come back out, you say, excuse me, sir, can I bother you for a second? Or excuse me, ma'am. If you had one piece of advice for a young man or woman or person that would like to drive, let's say they have a nice car, they would like to drive that car one day, they will smile at you and do their best to convey something that will help you. So be exactly like this, because old people love to give knowledge. They love to talk about themselves. They think that they're the most awesome people, and they have the right to think that. Now it's up to you to crack the code. Crack the code. Let them give, like, if they were a book, let them open themselves up to you. You don't know what they're gonna tell you. I'm telling you. And when youth comes to age for advice, he receives the wisdom of years. But too often does youth think that age knows only the wisdom of days that are gone, and therefore profits not. He's literally saying what I just told you in old English. Okay? When you talk to an old person, he's going to give you years worth of advice in about 2 seconds. You know what I'm saying? But y'all think, look, it's same humans, different technology, okay? But the emotions have never changed since man started on Earth. Okay, so that means the relationships are the same. The fights are the same. You know what I'm saying? The makeups, it's all the same stuff. When you look at an ancient scripture from Egypt, they have the same problems. The guy talking about somebody cheated on this person. This dog did this. This guy stole from this. It's the same situations you see in 2025. Okay. So again, talking to older people is actually such a big blessing. But remember this, the sun that shines today is the sun that shone when thy father was born, and will still be shining when thy last grandchild shall pass into the darkness. Bar! The thoughts of youth, he continued, are bright lights that shine forth like the meteors that oft make brilliant the sky. But the wisdom of age is like the fixed star that shines so unchanged that the sailor may depend upon them to steer his course. Are you listening? He's saying that the wisdom that comes with old age is like the North Star, okay? Unchanging. But the ideas of youth are like shooting stars. They're bright, they're fast, okay? But they can come and go. You dig what I'm saying? I did come go. Y'all check that song out. Come Go by T-Script. That's my artist. I'm gonna see if I can link it in here. Y'all see what I did? W promo. W promo. All right. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. Mark you well my words, for if you do not, you will fail to grasp the truth that I will tell you, and you will think that your night's work have been in vain. Then he looked at me shrewdly from under his shaggy brows and said in a low, forceful tone, I found the road to wealth when I decided that a part of all I earned was mine to keep, and so will you. What is he saying? Then he continued to look at me with a glance that I could feel piercing me, but said no more. Is that all? I asked. Think about what he just said. Okay? I found the road to wealth when I decided that a part of all I earned was mine to keep. So you get a paycheck, right? But did you pay yourself from that paycheck? If you don't know what I'm saying, hold on. That was sufficient to change the heart of a sheep herder into the heart of a moneylender, he replied. So the guy used to herd sheep. He was basically a farmer. But all I earn is mine to keep. Is it not? I demanded. Far from it, he replied. Do you not pay the garment maker? Do you not pay the sandal maker? Do you not pay for the things you eat? Can you live in Babylon without spending? Hell no. What have you to show for your earnings of the past month? What for the past year? Fool! You pay to everyone but yourself. Dullard! You labor for others. As well be a slave and work for what your master gives you to eat and wear. Damn, he coming hard. Pause. Wait, what? If you did keep for yourself 1/10 of all you earn, how much would you have in 10 years? Boom! When was the last time you paid yourself, took a portion of your paycheck, and put it into your savings account? I'll wait. Because it probably hasn't been recent. And that's exactly why you got no money to invest. Because you think you're supposed to invest your paycheck. No. You take a portion of your paycheck, you cut it, you put it in some type of savings till it accumulates to a certain amount, and then you sorry guys, I was making a clip right there. I was making a clip for short format. I'm back. Okay. My knowledge of the numbers did not forsake me, and I answered as much as I earn in 1 year. You speak but half the truth, he retorted. Every gold piece you save is a slave to work for you. Every copper it earns is its child that can also earn for you. Now, before we continue, obviously, I'm sure you guys were like, all right, this guy has said slave like 3 times in this video. What's going on? We need to keep in mind that before the transatlantic slave trade, which was the slave trade from Europe to Africa to the Caribbean to America, Slavery was not a thing of color, okay? Everybody from every color could be a slave. People sold themselves into slavery. They sold their family, they sold their kids, their wives, if they didn't have money, okay? That was how, there was a subclass below poverty back then. And so slavery was not, the only thing, what made the transatlantic slave trade so crazy is because it was the first time that they actually there was a color system. You know what I'm saying? You could identify who was a slave by their color. It was extremely messed up and disgusting and wrong. And slavery itself is disgusting. But people sold themselves into it. So essentially, there was a level below, you know what I'm saying? I just said it. There was a level below poverty. So it kind of also helps understand a little bit, because if you think of your money as a slave, think about it. You worked hard for the money, so now it's time to make your money work for you. That's essentially, besides that and equity, that's really the only way to even make money or become rich or wealthy. You know what I'm saying? Every copper it earns is its child that also can earn for you. If you would become wealthy, then what you save must earn. Its children must earn. That all may help to give to you the abundance you crave. So you got to pay yourself. And then with that money, that money may bring you more money. And then the money you made from your initial payment to yourself, you throw it back into some market. Okay, we're going to tell you what types of markets that will help you and who to give your money to. All right, we're going to cover all of that. Stay in tune. I just poked my eye, but you didn't see that. You think I cheat you for your long night's work, he continued, but I am paying you 1,000 times over if you have the intelligence to grasp the truth I offer you. If you're still confused a little bit about that last thing I told you about paying yourself, just pause the video and really just think about it for a second. A part of all you earn is yours to keep. It should be not less than 1/10, no matter how little you earn. It can be as much more as you can afford. Pay yourself first. Do not buy from the clothes maker and sandal maker more than you can pay out of the rest and still have enough for food and charity and penance to the gods. So don't starve yourself for that new designer. You know what I'm saying? It means you shouldn't be buying designer, okay? The only reason I got expensive clothes and stuff like that is because I don't have a girlfriend, okay? So I work hard, I pay myself, and I spend on myself, all right? Because until I get my money to work for me, not the time that I'm investing to get paid, no, that money has to work for me and make me money before I bring another person into the equation. Do you get me? You should. Because if you're not doing that, quite frankly, you're setting yourself back. You don't have to, but this is a way that works, okay? You can go do your trial and error, but this works. All right, where was I? All right. Wealth, like a tree, grows from a tiny seed. The first copper you save is the seed from which your tree of wealth shall grow. The sooner you plant the seed, the sooner shall the tree grow. And the more faithfully you nourish and water that tree with the consistent savings, the sooner may you bask in contentment beneath its shade. Now, honestly, props to the US, because a 401k essentially kind of does this for you, but you should do it yourself as well. Because think about it, if you got the 401k doing it for you and you're doing it yourself, but actually we'll get into that later. But think about it, that's the 401k, you doing it yourself, and you're receiving money from your paycheck. Your basic needs are met. You're building something that you can funnel into investments, and your 401k is just over there willy-nilly till you turn of age to collect. I mean, you can pull it out whenever, but chances are it's definitely a lot better to leave it until you're 40, 50. If you start now in your 20s, chances are you'll have about $1 million by the time you hit 40 or 50. Plus paying yourself 10% each time or more if you can afford it. Think about it. It's about the journey, all right? But I think that mid and end part of the journey is probably the most fun and where you want to have your coin. The beginning of the journey, it's for like meeting people, you know what I'm saying? Meeting the people, meeting your village, you know what I'm saying? Build your village. I think that's what, and build your village and discover who you are as a person. I feel like that's what the early stages are for. So saying, he took his tablet and went away. I thought much about what he had said to me, and it seemed reasonable. So I decided that I would try it. Each time I was paid, I took one from each 10 pieces of copper and I hid it away. And strange as it may seem, I was no shorter of funds than before. That 10% is not going to break the bank, okay? If you're here thinking, oh, I can't do that because I won't have money. Yes, you will. Because what you don't realize is you spend a lot of money on useless stuff that exactly you don't remember. Like they said about 1 page ago. And strange as it may seem, I was no shorter of fun than before. I noticed little difference as I managed to get along with it without it. But often I was tempted as my hoard began to grow to spend it for some of the good things the merchants displayed, brought by camels and ships from the land of the Phoenicians. But I wisely refrained. The 12th month after Algamish had gone, he again returned and said to me, "Son, have you paid to yourself not less than 1/10 of all you have earned for the past year?" I answered proudly, "Yes, master, I have." "That is good," he answered, beaming upon me. "And what have you done with it?" "I have given it to Asmer, the brickmaker, who told me he was traveling over the far seas and in Tyre he would buy for me the rare jewels of the Phoenicians. When he returned, we shall sell these at the high price and divide the earnings." Lesson 1 right here. No, this is lesson 2 now. "Every fool must learn," he growled. "But why trust the knowledge of a brickmaker about jewels? Would you go to the bread maker to inquire about the stars?" So what he's saying here is, why are you giving your money to your friend that wants to put a parlay on and he's not even a professional sports bettor? That's just an example, okay? Why would you give your money to your friend? Let's say you guys want to start a clothing brand, right? The guy knows diddly squat about clothing. He's never been to India, Pakistan, or China. He knows nothing about manufacturing. And he says, "Hey, give me $1,000. All right, I'm going to put this order in and we're going to start our clothing brand." Do you know how many people have done that in the US? Let me tell you something. Those relationships have fallen out and they wish they got their money back, but that shit is gone, baby. It is gone. "No, buy my tunic. You would go to the astrologer. If you had power to think, your savings are gone. Youth, you have jerked your wealth tree up by the roots." So that's the second step. You know what I'm saying? Save a portion of your check, but what you do with that portion is the second most important part. Okay? I would think it's even more important than saving it, because if you don't use it well, then you're going to lose it. You know what I'm saying? So always stick with people that have their skin in the game, in the exact market that they're telling you to invest with them in. But plant another, try again. And next time, if you would have advice about jewels, go to the jewel merchant. If you would know the truth about sheep, go to the herdsman. Advice is one thing that is freely given away, but watch that you take only what is worth having. He's saying people gonna talk, but just make sure you take it with a grain of salt. You know what I'm saying? Make sure that who's giving you the information, it makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Are they where you want to be? Are they in the market that you are trying to enter? All these questions are very pertinent, okay? He who takes advice about his savings from one who is inexperienced in such matters shall pay with his savings for proving the falsity of their opinions. Saying this, he went away. And it was as he said, for the Phoenicians are scoundrels and sold to Asmer worthless bits of glass that looked like gems. They sold this man glass. He worked so hard for that money and they gave that dude glass to give back to him. How would you feel? You wouldn't feel good. So to avoid even this situation, just take notes. Take notes, but also learn to apply, like, whatever I'm saying here and in the book. If you think it makes sense, don't hop on TikTok after this and forget. Write it down. Or don't even write it down. Just sit and think after this episode for like 5 minutes. Just think about it. Trust me, some of it's gonna save. All right, ready to go. But as Algamish had bid me, I again saved each 10th copper, for I now had formed the habit, and it was no longer difficult. Again, 12 months later, Algamish came to the room of the scribes and addressed me. What progress have you made since I last saw you? I have paid myself faithfully, I replied, and my savings I have entrusted to Agar, the shield maker, to buy bronze, and each 4th month he does pay me rental. See, a shield maker needs bronze. He has his skin in the game. So therefore, that's a wise investment for you to take that 10%. So let me put it this way. Let's say your friend has a clothing brand. All right. So now this isn't a friend that brings the idea of making one to you. You have a friend with a clothing brand, right? And they need to make a bulk order, right? If you can fund that, then that is a good step forward, because you know your money's going to be made back because the guy got skin in the game. He needs to make a profit. Okay. That's the thing. When your skin's not in the game, it's just an idea. You're like, you really don't have much. There's nothing to lose. It's better to work with people who have something to lose than nothing, because rather safe than sorry. I've paid myself faithfully. All right. I read that already. That is good. And what do you do with the rental? Boom. So now this is step 3. Pay yourself, invest it into somebody else's business or any type of vehicle, 3rd step, the money comes back. The return on investment comes back. What do you do with it? I do have a great feast with honey and fine wine and spiced cake. Oh my gosh. He's not there yet, but he's getting there. Also, I've bought me a scarlet tunic, and someday I shall buy me a young ass upon which to ride. Now, ass means donkey. All right, guys, stop being childish. Stop laughing. To which Algamish laughed. You do eat the children of your savings. And then how do you expect them to work for you? And how can they have children that will also work for you? Are you starting to get what I'm getting at here? Are you picking up what I'm putting down, what this book is putting down? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. First, get thee an army of golden slaves, and then many a rich banquet may you enjoy without regret. So saying, he again and went away. So too soon. Don't spend that 3rd step. Don't spend in that 3rd step, okay? There's a 4th step. Patience. Patience, my friend. Because we don't want to be calculating. We want to enjoy, live life without having to think, oh, I just spent this to that. I gave this person that. No, you don't want that, okay? Nor did I again see him for 2 years. 2 years. So again, keep in mind the timeline of when Algamish is coming back into the picture. These things take time, okay? Stop going for the fast method. It's never going to pay off in the long run. And again, if it does, just like that person who got a quick sum of money and was able to add to it that we spoke about in the beginning of the book, it's very rare, okay, to hear that. At that point, it's all hearsay, okay? You won't be able to put 5 of those same people in one room because those 5 people are scattered around the world. That's how rare it is. But again, 2 years. It's been 2 years since Algamish came back. When he once more returned, and his face was full of deep lines, and his eyes drooped, for he was becoming a very old man. And he said to me, Arcad, hast thou yet achieved the wealth thou dreamed of? And I answered, not yet, all that I desire, but some I have, and it earns more, and its earnings earn more. I'll say that again. Not yet all that I desire, but some I have, and it earns more, and its earnings earn more. So he learned step 3. He used to spend it. Now he puts it into something else. Okay. So it's with this one, it's with this money, hold on. It's with this money that you should enjoy. Okay. And if you want to go even crazier, don't spend this money. Okay. Wait until this one comes out to spend. That way you'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 5 things bringing you money. And you're investing into this one and spending this one, only this one. So that's how wealthy people live. Except, you know what I'm saying? Unless if they're, you know, leveraging credit. But who the hell wants to do that? The credit system, I don't know. They say, you know what I'm saying? They give you these guarantees, yada, yada. Take care of yourself, okay? We've seen how bubbles and credit go together. All right, where was I? Okay, here we go. And do you still take the advice of brickmakers about brickmaking? They give good advice. I retorted. Haha. He learned his lesson. He was making fun of him right there. Arcad, he continued. You have learned your lesson well. You first learned to live upon less than you could earn, living below your means. Next, you learned to seek advice from those who are competent through their own experience to give it. So you're trusting people who have skin in the game or have had skin in the game. Okay, so they're not talking out their ass. I mean donkey, okay? And lastly, you have learned to make gold work for you. There's 3 lessons. There's many more though. I got you. You have taught yourself how to acquire money, how to keep it, and how to use it. Therefore, you are competent for a responsible position. I am becoming an old man. My son thinks only of spending and give no thought to earning. My interests are great, and I fear too much for me to look after. If you will go to Nippur and look after my lands there, I shall make you my partner, and you shall share in my estate. Guys, this is how life works. You speak to the right people, you learn, you use that knowledge, and people are watching. If you can manage something correctly, what makes you think somebody won't want you to manage something of theirs? Listen, like I said, like the beginning, you build your village. Because who knows, that village will be the one that powers you in the future, because you're going to power them, and it's going to become like this never-ending cycle of energy transformation. They charge you up, you charge them up. Boom, unstoppable machine. Okay, yes. Okay. He said something about Nippur. Give good advice. I retorted. If you will go to Nippur, yep. So basically, Algamish now told Arcad, look, I'm getting too old. Come take care of my estates, my lands, and I'll make you a partner. Crazy, right? So I went to Nippur and took charge of his holdings, which were large. And because I was full of ambition, and because I had mastered the 3 laws of successful handling wealth, I was enabled to increase greatly the value of his properties. So I prospered much, and when the spirit of Algamish departed for the sphere of darkness, I did share in his estate as he had arranged under the law. So spake Arcad, or spoke. That's Old English. And when he had finished his tale, one of his friends said, you were indeed fortunate that Algamish made of you an heir. Boom. So there you go. You tell your story, and somebody's always going to try and find a piece of it to say, oh, this is why, just to downplay your journey. Don't pay him no mind. Okay. Don't pay him no mind. Fortunate only in that I had the desire to prosper before I first met him. For 4 years, I did not prove my definiteness of purpose by keeping 1/10. Oh, for 4 years, did I not prove my definiteness of purpose by keeping 1/10 of all earned? Would you call a fisherman lucky who for 4 years so studied the habits of the fish that with each changing wind he could cast his nets about them? Exactly. Opportunity is a haughty goddess who wastes no time with those who are unprepared. Did you hear that? Opportunity will skip you by if you're not prepared. So stop calling people lucky, because you don't know what they did for that moment to carpe that DM. Seize that moment. You don't know. So never call somebody lucky, okay? You had strong willpower to keep on after you lost your first year's savings. You are unusual in that way, spoke another. Willpower, retorted Arcad. What nonsense. Do you think willpower gives a man the strength to lift a burden the camel cannot carry? Or to draw a load the oxen cannot budge? Willpower is but the unflinching purpose to carry a task you set for yourself to fulfillment. Willpower is saying, I'm gonna get in that gym and I'm gonna do that once a week for the whole year, and you do that. Not because, yes, because you know you'll be healthier, but there's something very important about telling yourself you're gonna do something and following through. It does so much for your psyche and who you are as a person. Because if you can't trust yourself, then who can you trust? You know what I'm saying? And also, if people know that you don't trust yourself, how can they trust you? You get what I'm saying? If I set for myself a task, be it ever so trifling, I shall see it through. How else shall I have confidence in myself to do important things? Facts. Should I say to myself, for 100 days as I walk across the bridge into the city, I will pick from the road a pebble and cast it into the stream. I would do it. If on the 7th day I passed by without remembering, I would not say to myself, tomorrow I will cast 2 pebbles, which will do as well. Instead, I would retrace my steps and cast that pebble. Nor on the 20th day would I say to myself, Arcad, this is useless. What does it avail you to cast a pebble every day? He's saying, what does it bring to you to throw a pebble into the water every day? Nothing. Throw in a handful and be done with it. No, I would not say that nor do it. When I set a task for myself, I complete it. Therefore, I am careful not to start difficult and impractical tasks because I love leisure. This is so important because I can't tell you how important this is. Like it low-key goes in line with, all right, this is for my boys right now, being a man of your word, or even a person of your word. This falls into it. If you can't be a person, if you're not a person of your word, then quite frankly, being successful is going to be very hard. If you're not a person of your word, it's hard to complete anything. Because what's holding you accountable? Nothing. Nothing. Your word is your law, quite frankly, as a human. And then another friend spoke up and said, if what you tell is true, and it does seem, as you have said, reasonable, then being so simple, if all men did it, there would not be enough wealth to go around. Wealth grows wherever men exert energy. Arcad replied, if a rich man builds him a new palace, is the gold he pays out gone? No, the brickmaker has part of it, and the laborer has part of it, and the artist has part of it, and everyone who labors upon the house has part of it. Yet when the palace is completed, is it not worth all it costs? Just please slow down and process what I'm saying, if you haven't already. This is sauce, people. And is the ground upon which it stands not worth more because it is there? And is the ground that adjoins it not worth more because that palace is there? The answer is yes. Wealth grows in magic ways. No man can prophesy the limit of it. Have not the Phoenicians built great cities on barren coasts with the wealth that comes from their ships of commerce on the seas? So the Phoenicians were people who turned a wasteland into a beautiful city. Doesn't that kind of sound like Dubai? You know what I'm saying? There's enough money in this world. Trust. Stop being greedy. Stop being frugal. What then do you advise us to do that we also may become rich? Asked still another of his friends. The years have passed and we are no longer young men, and we have nothing put by. I advise that you take the wisdom of Algamish and say to yourselves, a part of all I earn is mine to keep. Say it in the morning when you first arise. Say it at noon. Say it at night. Say it each hour of every day. Say it to yourself until the words stand out like letters of fire across the sky. You don't have to say it to yourself every day, but it needs to become part of like your fabric as a human being. You know what I'm saying? Impress yourself with the idea. Fill yourself with the thought. Then take whatever portion seems wise, let it be not less than 1/10, and lay it by. Arrange your other expenditures to do this if necessary. So what he's saying is, live below some, if you can't save 10% because you're out in the club every weekend, then stop going to the club every weekend. Okay? You need something, you need a foundation. Going to the club is not a foundation. All right? You can't invest going to the club. Do you understand? Unless if you're the DJ making money, the club owner, or the manager. Do you understand? Or you're just working in general. All right. Find a way to get that 10% into your savings. That's all I'm trying to tell you. But lay by that portion first. Soon you will realize what a rich feeling it is to own a treasure upon which you alone have claim. As it grows, it will stimulate you. A new joy of life will thrill you. Greater effort will come to you to earn more. For of your increased earnings, will not the same percentage be also yours to keep? So he's saying, as you earn more, as that savings grows and you make it work and you pay yourself back, what you pay yourself back is going to increase as you continue. Trust me, it'll feel like a game eventually. Seriously, try it. Then learn to make your treasures work for you. Make it your slave. Make its children and its children's children work for you. Don't forget, we're still talking about money, all right? Not child labor. Ensure an income for thy future. Look thou at the aged and forget not that in the days to come, thou also will be numbered among them. Therefore, invest thy treasure with greatest caution that it be not lost. Usurious rates of return are deceitful, sirens that sing but to lure the unwary upon the rocks of loss and remorse. Now, what usurious rates mean? It means when somebody comes to you and says, let's make 200x. You know what I'm saying? Like in the beginning when, now I'm not gonna lie, I did turn $9 into 1,000 and then reinvested that off of crypto. But for example, like the way people were talking about NFTs, right? The world just isn't ready for NFTs yet. That's honestly what I think. I don't think it was a bad idea necessarily, so that might be a bad example actually. So I'll revisit that topic if I get a good example for you. Provide also that thy family may not want, should the gods call thee to their realms. So he's saying, always set a portion aside in case, something happens to you. For such protection, it is always possible to make provision with small payments at regular intervals. Therefore, the provident man delays not in expectation of a large sum becoming available for such a wise purpose. So I think right there, he's mainly talking about life insurance. You should get life insurance and you should start paying it, especially if you have children. Counsel with wise men. Seek the advice of men whose daily work is handling money. Let them save you from such an error as I myself made in entrusting my money to the judgment of Asmer, the brickmaker. A small return and a safe one is far more desirable than risk. Slow motion is better than no motion. That's what he's saying. Enjoy life while you are here. Do not overstrain or try to save too much. If 1/10 of all you earn is as much as you can comfortably keep, be content to keep this portion. Live otherwise according to your income, and let not yourself get niggardly and afraid to spend. Life is good and life is rich, with things worthwhile and things to enjoy. His friends thanked him and went away. Some were silent because they had no imagination and could not understand. Some were sarcastic because they thought that one so rich should divide with old friends not so fortunate. Again, different technology, same people. Because you hear these stories all the time. Like a rapper gets rich, the whole family want him to break him off. You know what I'm saying? That kind of stuff. But some had in their eyes a new light. They realized that Algamish had come back each time to the room of the scribes because he was watching a man work his way out of the darkness and light. That's why he kept coming back. Because the man asked for advice, and he wanted to see, is he going to follow up with it? And he did. And that's what led to him getting that job opportunity you got to understand, when you follow old people's advice and they see your life improve, they want to help you so much. Crazy. When that man had found the light, a place awaited him. No one could fill that place until he had for himself worked out his own understanding. Until he was ready for opportunity. Are you ready for opportunity? If you're not, then click on this. Watch this video so you can be. These latter were the ones who in the following years frequently revisited Arcad, who received them gladly. He counseled with them and gave them freely of his wisdom, as men of broad experience are always glad to do. And he assisted them in so investing their savings that it would bring in a good interest with safety and would neither be lost nor entangled in investments that paid no dividends. The turning point in these men's lives came upon that day when they realized the truth that had come from Algamish to Arcad and from Arcad to them. A part of all you earn is yours to keep. Thank you for tuning in. That was episode 4. I think this is going to be one of our longer ones. I definitely need to figure out a good, I might try to keep it at 45 seconds. I think we're over an hour now. But episode 5, season 1 will be the 7 cures for a lean purse. So we're about to tell you how to make those pockets healthy. See you in the next episode. Brother Bib out.